Hi guys, good evening to all of y'all. Hopefully my screen is visible and I'm audible to y'all. Yeah. So yesterday we were only able to cover Kabelo CO's, which is September-December 2023's pre-populated sheet for 14 marks, right? We are left with, give me a minute. Yes. We are left with a total of 16 marks, right? Since yesterday there was a time constraint and this needed explanation, right? So I did not want to utilize that day. So since this is a very fresh day, we will start explaining for this 16 marks, right? The way how I'm going to take this class for today is that don't worry, I'm not going to write anything, right? I'm not going to write anything. I have prepared myself in advance, right, with all the points jotted down. And what I would say is that you all start writing now from now onwards, right? Since it's the 6th of September, right? So that you all start writing now, try to identify what you all lack. I mean, first of all, try to identify your own problems, right? And after that, we will be able to, build on by, we'll be able to build on your writing skills, the way you all analyze. See, uh, the basic analysis has been already given in FR, right? You all would have done analysis in FR for interpretation of ratios. So I would have got a basic understanding of how to, analyze and explain and write. But FR requires more judgment, right? FR requires more judgments, and you all need to explain in a way that a finance controller or a finance professional would deal with. Yeah. So this can be done with practice. So without wasting more time, right? I have planned to finish this off within an hour. So hopefully that yes, because yesterday's video it took about 2 hours in total, right? I know people would be bored. Yes, to being personal, even I would be bored. So let me try to finish off these two requirements, which is a 10 mark and a six mark requirement within an hour or so. Yeah, so hopefully that you all understand. And if you all have any further doubts on this, make sure you all drop it into my comment section and I'll be able to assist you all within 48 hours. If that is so, in terms of Kabelo Co, the second question, right? The second question, again, always read into the verb. Always read into the verb. The examiner wants us to explain. Yeah, he wants us to explain the adjustments that we made in the requirement number 1 for operating and investing activities, guys. Well, this question, I would say, examiner has been more lenient on y'all because normally this September, December 2023, he has never tested or he has never given 10 marks for an explanation of an adjustment that y'all have already done. Y'all could go and check over the papers, right? Normally he test y'all for the 10 marks with a different standard, or what is IFRS 3 or what is IFRS 10, how is a control obtained, or something related to consolidation. He has never told you all to go and adjust and after it explain those adjustments. So I would consider this second requirement to be a very basic bounty marks question, right? This is I would say it would be a free mark for you guys, because what you all need to do is basically, as soon as you all adjust this, you all need to explain your adjustments, right? You all need to explain your adjustments in a very simplest manner. You all don't need to use any enhanced vocabulary. You all don't need to use any enhanced English, not at all. In a way, in a simplest way that the examiner understands, you all should be able to, put in your words. And then you all be able to grab your 10 marks, right? So what he wants us to explain the adjustments in relation to operating and investing activities for the year, for the Kabelo Co for the year ended 31st December 2005. Right? Okay. So that's what his requirement is. I told you all yesterday itself that unless I complete a requirement, I would not go and read the other requirement, because that's going to cause more jumblings and it's going to cause more confusions into my head. So when I'm going to attempt it, I will read it. But rather than that, let us stick now only for the question that we are going to focus on. Yeah. If that is so. Well, normally there are two ways of doing this question, right? First of all, what y'all could do is y'all could self do it. I mean, y'all could write You all could start on to explain your adjustments that you all have done for in terms of Kabelo Co. And after it, you all could come and watch the recordings of mine. Or what I would suggest is, uh, you all could attach this ACCA marking scheme, which is specifically provided by the examiner. The reason that I am telling you to, take a screenshot of it and attach it to your Excel sheet is, the reason is, you all will be knowing how is examiner going to allocate, right? How is examiner going to allocate the 10 marks, right? The reason is why I'm telling you all to choose this second option as your approach is, if you all know the examiner is going to allocate his 10 marks based on this and that point, right? Automatically your brains are, it will start preparing yourselves only to cater towards that 10 mark and nothing beyond that, right? So obviously this comes through practice. This comes through practice. Or if you read one or two answers, yes, obviously it's going to kick in, right? And also, I told you all this is a bounty question, as well as, sometimes examiner gives you all some free marks. Can you see here the maximum marks that has been allocated was 10 marks as per the examiner's ACCA marking scheme, as well as his question requirement, 10 marks. But if you add this based on the individual allocation, you all could see 3 plus 2 gives you all, 6, 6 plus 3 gives you all 9, 9 plus 3 gives you all 12. So that means he is giving you all a maximum of 12 marks, regardless of any point that you all write. But make sure that these points are relevant to the question, right? Don't go and just give whatever the standards that you all have memorized. No, make sure that their standards are relevant to this question, so that you all are able to get a maximum of 10 marks, right? And if you all have written anything apart from this, as long as it is relevant, he will give you all marks. A maximum, he is allowed to give you all a maximum of 10, yeah, but these includes 12, right? So this is how examiners lenient with y'all, right? This is how they are lenient with y'all, right? As long as you write the relevant mark, you all will be able to gain the this one, the the set of marks that is needed. All right. Okay. So I told you, right, before starting off this session, that I have prepared in advance. Okay. So this is what I have prepared for myself, right? So this I would consider these as a pointer. Now in exams, when you all are doing, right, uh, you all will be given a paper, or what do you call, a notepad on your ACCA platform itself. So you all could utilize this at your own convenience, right? What you all could do is, once you all read on to the paragraph, right, you all could jot down these points, guys. You all could jot down these points that are needed, that which needs an explanation, right, which you feel is going to grab you the mark, right? So in terms of that, I have jotted down 8 points, right, which I feel is pretty much important, which I feel is that if I am able to explain these marks, I'm going to get that 10 marks. Now, you all might be having a doubt per se. Now, see, the examiner is asking you to explain for 10 marks. So 10 mark means each explanation gets 1 mark. But Abdullah, you have gone and explained only 8 relevant pointers. How are you going to grab 10 marks? Well, you see, guys, now let me be honest. I have only got 8 pointers on my head, right? When I looked into this case scenario, I was only able to extract 10. I mean, I was able to only extract 8 pointers out of the 10, right? But but look at how I'm going to structure it. See, if I am able to, out of these 8 pointers, if I am able to break one of these and create a new sentence which is relevant and explain it even more further, right? And connect it to the to Kabelo Co, right? I might be able to get an addition of 1 or 2 marks, right? So that is it. I would be able to get, within a range of 8 to 10, because this 8 is sure shot. I'm going to get 8 marks for sure if I explain perfectly, right? For the remaining 2 marks, what I would say is, if you all are if you all are able to break these pointers, into another meaningful sentence, yes, that would give you all an additional 1 or 2 marks. Yeah. So that would be a basic idea of what we are planning on doing. Okay. So the examiner wants us to explain, right? He wanted us to explain. Okay, he's wanted us to explain. So I have given you all 8 pointers. So let us now start explaining. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to write anything. I'm not going to write anything. Uh, I'm not going to write anything. I've just given you all pointers so that you all make an attempt to write, right? By looking at these pointers or without looking at these pointers. You all make an attempt to write. Okay. So what I would like to tell is the first point should be I always, right? Make sure that your first point is always a basic introduction of the concept, right? I mean, this can be a basic introduction of your concept. Now, in this particular question, they want us to discuss about statement of cash flows. Then, on your brains, right, a bulb must trigger. The bulb must tell you all that the bulb must trigger saying that this relates to IAS 7. So I need to give the examiner a general explanation. Here it is. A general explanation. I need to give an examiner a general explanation about cash flow, right? The reason why I would say that is it is going to get you all a simple 1 mark, guys, right? It is not related to the question at all. It's just a standard, and I'm relating it to Kabelo Co, and I'm going to get a 1 mark, right? It's a basic approach that you all would be able to do to gain one particular mark, right? And if I need to get a further 1 mark or zero point 0.5 marks, what I would do is I would try to relate it to Kabelo Co. How I would try to relate it to Kabelo Co is you can see that the examiner is specifically only asking us to discuss about operating and investing activities, right? So then I will make sure that my point, right, or my pointer includes operating and investing activities somewhere. So how I would say is, I would try to give him a definition of what is operating and investing activities, or I would try to tell, you know, why are we classifying it as operating and investing activities? The reason that why would we classify it as investing and operating activities is, guys, because investors, they are set of professionals who don't have financial background, right? They don't have financial background. They don't understand certain accounting terms such as impairment, depreciation. No, they don't understand. They just want to invest their monies in more profitable organizations. So they need to understand where we are going and investing our cash flows, as well as where we are extracting our cash flows from. So you could include that as well. You could speak about why there is a classification between an operating and investing, right? Any of that sort. Or you all could bring in the characteristics of conceptual framework, right? We have to make sure that our cash flows are with our cash flows contain these two characteristics. One is faithful information and the other one is relevant. Any irrelevant, immaterial are excluded from this. Why are we doing that? Why are we only considering only faithful and relevant information? The reason is, guys, we need to provide shareholders or investors with accurate information. Why we are providing accurate information? So that they are able to take proper economic decisions, right? Any of this you all mentioned, guys, you all are easily able to get either 1 or 1.5 to 2 marks, right? 1 or 1.5 to 2 marks, right? That is why I told you here he has given an additional 2 marks. If you all mention something in here, you all will be able to grab that addition of 2 marks, right? Okay. If that is so, now now the way of how you present it to the examiner. See, what I will try to tell you all is make sure that you all let the examiner knows that you know what he expects from you. Make sure that you let the examiner know what he expects from you, right? The reason why I segregated this into operating and investing activities so that examiner is able to identify what exactly are the points that I'm trying to relate it to. right? Rather than congesting, rather than compiling all in one particular paragraph and making it quite messy, I'm trying to show him and I'm trying to indicate these set of items. These set of items are related to operating activities, and this particular item is related to investing activities. This is what I am trying to show him, right? This is how you indicate that you are a finance professional, right? So I mean, try practice. You'll be able to get it, right? Okay. So, okay. So the first one is I'm planning on discussing about operating activities. Okay. So my first pointer on that would be is that subsidiary acquisition. You all remember, you all remember, right? Yesterday we acquired Trudeau's Co, right? We did all the calculations on that regard and we adjusted the pre-populated sheet. When you're acquiring a subsidiary, right, that acquiring or that acquisition is going to lead to an outflow. Why outflow? You paid cash, right? Here it is. You paid cash. You paid cash. Therefore, that cash led to an outflow, right? And now, where are you going to present it? Where are you going to present it? Where are you going to present it? You will present any investments in a subsidiary. Investment in subsidiary as an investing activity, right? If you mention this, I'm pretty much sure that you are able to get 1 mark, right? 1 mark means I want you to mention that it is an outflow, right? Why it was an outflow? It was because you released cash for an acquisition of a subsidiary, and you will record any acquisition of a subsidiary under investing activities. This is going to give you 1 mark, right? If any smart student is there, right, he would try to discuss about this share exchange as well. This share exchange as well. You all know that yesterday when we acquired Trudeau's Co, right, we had to pay two types of considerations. One was in terms of cash, and the other was in terms of a share exchange, right? Always, this is a pointer, right? This is a pointer. This is a pointer. This is a pointer. This is a pointer, guys. What I would say is, if there is a share exchange means I'm going to give you my set of shares for number of shares that you're planning on giving me. If there's a share exchange, guys, those share exchange are not going to impact your statement of cash flows, right? So there is no impact in terms of share exchange. No impact, right? It would not come under investing activities. It's not going to come under your financing activities. Neither it's going to come under your operating activities, right? So that is also you could include under your second point, or you could break it and put it under your third or fourth point, according to you all, right? So that is also one one of the ideas, right? Never include a share exchange. There is no impact. But 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 let me put this in a different type of color. But if there was a share issue, if there was a share issue, right? When there is a share issue, that will be recorded as financing activities and it would be shown as an inflow of cash, right? These are quite basics, guys. So if you all don't know, make sure that you all go and refer to IAS 7, or we have Google, right? We have Google. You all can go and check Google, and you all could, identify what's the difference between a share exchange and a share issue, right? Okay. So that is that. So we are done with 2 pointers as of now, right? After that, hope you all remember, right? We need to discuss about the net impact. The net impact. What would I mean by net impact? What would I mean by net impact? What would I mean by net impact is, guys, see, yesterday I told you all, right? Let me show you all on the what you call on the cash flow, that adjusted cash flow that we prepared. Here it is. I guess this has to be the one. Yeah. We paid cash of 400,000, right? We paid cash of 400,000. But due to the acquisition of Trudeau's Co, he bought in some money. He bought in some money of 24,900. Here it is. I paid 400,000. Fine. That was an outflow. But Trudeau's Co had a cash within his company of 24,900. If that is so, we are supposed to take the net impact. Well, this is a major adjustment. This is a major adjustment. So this needs to be discussed, right? This needs to be discussed. So when you're discussing, try to mention about the net impact. You all could say that initially, Kabelo Co paid 400,000, but the subsidiary at the date of acquisition had 27,000, 24,900 within his company. So therefore, due to the acquisition of subsidiary, Kabelo Co also gets control of that 24,900 cash. So we would conclude that a net impact or a net outflow of how much would have gone from the company? A net outflow of 375 100 will be recorded under our investing activities. If all these points are included, you will be able to get that 1 mark. But I mean, yeah, you would be able to get that 1 mark, right? So that's what I put as net impact, right? Also, I have written, that share issue, the share exchange point, guys. I told that whenever there's a share exchange, which was discussed here, well, that I include as another point, right? So, try to discuss that as well. Here, say I mentioned also share exchange is not a cash flow. Okay, fine. Yeah, it was not a cash flow because, yeah, I'm not going to lose out cash. There is no impact for cash. I'm not going to pay him from cash. I'm going to pay him from equity, right? So no impact for cash. No impact for cash. So that I purposely mentioned it as another pointer so that I could get another mark, right? So since if it's not a uh, cash flow, there is no marks for it. I'm sorry, there is no impact on there will be no impact on my statement of cash flows. But however, if it was a share issue, it's going to affect financing activities as an inflow, right? As an inflow. If it's a share issue, right? Now this point shows that the examiner that you know what you are discussing about. This point it tells the examiner that you know what you're discussing about. Right. So already we are able to grab 4 points, 4 marks, right? We are able to grab 4 points, 4 marks. So we are left out with another 6 marks only, guys. We are only left out with another 6 marks. So okay, how would I get that another 6 marks? What I would try to do is, you all remember, right? The working capital adjustments that we did. The working capital adjustments that we did related to this person, right? Related to this person. So what I could do is I could discuss 2 points on working capital adjustments. What I would say is number one point is I'm going to have a comparability problem, right? I'm going to have a comparability problem. The reason why I would have a comparability problem is the reason why I would have a comparability problem. Okay, why would I have a comparability problem? For that, I need to go and, again read this point. See, all these movement in inventory, trade receivable, etc., have been calculated by considering simply the differences in the year-end balances only, right? They have not yet considered the impact of acquisition of Tudoscope. So, I will just simply copy this point along with this point and paste it here, right? And after that, I'm going to explain. How am I going to explain? See, yesterday I told you all, when like this kind of acquisition comes in, right? And when your accountant or when your junior accountant only just considers the difference between the opening balances and the closing balances, there is going to be a comparability issue. This was what I discussed yesterday. How come a comparability issue is going to arise is because you see, your closing balance of the group would have parents plus subsidiaries 6 months net assets, right? Subsidiaries 6 months net assets. But your opening balance would not have that 6 months impact. If that is so, there is an imbalance in your ratio or equation. The closing balance would be, the closing net assets would be higher than your opening net assets because of the acquisition of subsidiary. Yeah. So that is why there is a comparability issue, right? When a comparability issue arises, right, it leads to a bad investment decision. Right? Because why? The opening balances did not have the similar impact which is on your closing balances, right? For that, you all will be needing to refer this mantra or either this logical approach. Any of this sort, if you all refer, you all be able to explain that, right? That you all can explain. Okay. Another point on working capital. What would I give you all another point on working capital? Okay, I'll let you all know on what exactly another point that would come on working capital. I'll let you all know. Because my brain is not popping out. Nothing is triggering for me right now. But let me think over it, and I'll tell you all what I could have as another pointer. Right, another one. Before coming into the 6 point, let me discuss the 7 point, and after moving to 6 point. 7 point. What does it include? See, this is an indirect method, right? This is an indirect method. The reason why am I telling indirect method is by referring only to this point. When I refer to this format itself, I know eventually this is supposed to be an indirect method. When there is an indirect method, guys, we are not supposed to take any non-cash items. Sorry, there's a typo over here. Yeah. When it's an indirect method, guys, any indirect method should not include any non-cash items. Yeah. It should not include any non-cash item, such as, this included in this particular question, there was a depreciation. There was an impairment, right? So you all could put that as 1 point. If you all want to extend that point, you all can bring in IAS 36. How I would relate IAS 36? How I would relate IAS 36 is, guys, if you all have studied the standard of IAS 36, right? IAS 36 says that whenever that you all acquire a subsidiary, all right, at the date of acquisition, my bad, at the date of acquisition, you're supposed to calculate goodwill, okay? And at the date of reporting, you are supposed to calculate impairment, or you all are supposed to conduct an impairment review, right? You all are supposed to conduct an impairment review at the reporting date. right? So if you all could include those points, you all will be able to get either 1 or 2 marks from the examiner, right? So that would give me the 7 pointer as well, right? Try to tell the examiner about the non-cash items. You need to reverse it back, right? As well as try to tell about the IAS 36 and the impairment review if you all want. Okay, if you all want, you all can stop with the non-cash items. But if you all want to, give him for more information, you all could bring in the IAS 36 as well. Okay. Hopefully you all are with me. It's 9:18. Don't worry, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. After we discuss question three, I'm going to finish it as much as possible. So the last point in terms of operating activity. You all remember, right? You all remember another mistake. You all could in fact, argue with the examiner. See, you all could pinpoint his error. You all could pinpoint his error. The finance controller has not yet considered. Oh, sorry, sorry, my bad. I guess I read the wrong one. Yeah. The taxation figure in the statement of profit or loss is 386,500. And this figure has been included in the taxation paid. So what I would say is you can easily grab from this 6 pointer, you all could easily grab another 2 marks. How I would say is copy this point. Copy this point. Sure shot. Tell the examiner, here see examiner, your finance controller is wrong, right? He is wrong. Why is he wrong? He has gone and recorded the P&L figure instead of bringing in the cash paid figure, right? I would repeat myself. You all could tell the examiner by copying this statement and pasting it into your answer scheme. And you all could tell examiner, here see, examiner, look, your finance controller is wrong because he has gone and only recorded the P&L, which is ideally wrong because in terms of cash flow, you're supposed to bring in the cash paid, right? You all can speak about that. Always, try to argue with the examiner. Try to argue with the examiner. Always examiner is not correct, right? Never have that feeling that examiner is correct, right? Sometimes he might be false or misleading. So you all need to argue, right? And another one that you all could bring is deferred tax liability. If you all bring this, guys, if you all bring this is the highlight of this question. This is the highlight of this question, right? Let me write that in a different color. Let me write that in a different color. This is the highlight of this question. If a particular student was able to identify there was a DDL, right? If a particular student was able to identify there was a DTL, deferred tax liability arising, right? Hopefully, I'll remember where did this deferred tax liability arise? Hopefully, I'll remember where did this deferred tax liability arise. Let me show that as well. In the yesterday's question, there was a fair value upward adjustment, right? There was a fair value upward adjustment, right? When we had that fair value upward adjustment, guys, we went and calculated this. We went and calculated this. We went and calculated what they call a tax impact of 30%. Hopefully, I'll remember a tax impact of 30%, right? And also, here it is. There was an upward adjustment of 50,000 because of that arised tax adjustment, right, of 15,000. This adjustment created a temporary difference, right? This temporary difference is because the carrying value increased by 50,000 and there was no increase in tax base because tax base remained constant. If you all are able to explain this, right, due to this, there was a deferred tax liability. If you all are able to explain this, sure shot, I would say that this 3 mark allocated by the examiner is yours. This 3 mark allocated by the examiner is yours because you all are able to highlight the deferred tax liability by saying that the carrying value was greater than the tax base, right? If you all are able to explain all these points which I told, the misstatement, right, and it's supposed to be cash paid, and there was a deferred tax liability arising. If you all are able to explain all these points, you all will be getting this 3 marks, sure shot guys. It's a confirmed one. You all are able to get 3 marks, right? Finally finally we are moving on to the last pointer that I would like to say in terms of this second question, in terms of this second requirement, right? Because they told us not to stop with operating activities, they wanted us to include investing activities as well. So hopefully you'll remember. Oh my god, I guess I had missed. Okay. I guess sorry, I forgot. Subsidiary acquisition was a investing activity, right? So this comes under investing activity. It was my bad. Okay. Now we need to go and speak about the PP acquisition. Hopefully I'll remember that as well. All right. Always try to be focused on the question, right? You all don't need to look into my screen at all. You all could focus on the question, guys. Yeah. On the question here, see, there were some additions, right? So if you all need to get these 3 marks, because examiner told there's a maximum 3 marks allocated for purchase of PP. What you all could mention is about the what you all could mention, right? What you all could mention. Here it is. You all could mention that subsidiary bought in 421,000 worth of asset, that is here. In his carrying value, he bought in 421,000, right? As well as there was a depreciation charged. These are other adjustments, right? And if you all can do, this depreciation is a non-cash item, right? And there were no disposals, and also there was a fair value adjustment. So we incorporated all these adjustments to derive the additional amount that was purchased. If you all say all of this, guys, I'm pretty much sure you all can get the 3 mark, right? Make sure that you all provide them in a point form so that you all are able to get that 3 marks, right? Let me take 1 minute of break, right? So that you all can look into the other third requirement, right? You all can look into the third requirement of 6 marks and start preparing what you all would give as pointers, right? I'm not telling you all to draft. No, I'm not telling you all to draft now, right? But I'm telling you all to, start creating pointers on your heads, right? I would say that I'm done with question number two. As of now, I'm done with question number two, right? I'm left with only question number three. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Till then, you all can go and read this B part for 6 marks. And this is using exhibit 2, right? So make sure you only read this paragraph. Don't worry if nothing pops into your head, no problem. I'll also read along with y'all so that I could give you all the pointers, right? Meanwhile, you'll start reading this. Okay, guys, moving on to our very last final requirement for the day, right? Very last requirement for the day. All right. What does this say? The examiner wants us to explain using the exhibit 2, right? Does he want us to explain or he wants us to advise? He wants us to advise, right? Advice means this is going to give you all 1 mark, right? This is going to give you all 1 mark. So advice can be, y'all can speak about all the positives as well as y'all can speak about the negatives as well, right? Advise the finance controller as how the various financial instruments, right, including the overdraft. Why would you say including the overdraft? That means he wants us to specifically discuss about this. He wants us to specifically discuss about this point. He wants us to specifically. Now see, there might be multiple financial instruments in that, but he wants us to specifically discuss about this overdraft, right? So let us go and discuss. Before we go and discuss, we need to understand uh, the paragraph, right? Okay, so I'll start reading it. Let me start reading it. Okay, the Kabelo Co has number of financial instruments. Fine. Okay, presented within its consolidated statement of financial position. No problem. Some group entities which have surplus cash resources. Okay, fine. Acquired. Acquired. I'm changing the pen. I'm changing the highlighting color. They have acquired debentures in other non-group entities. Sorry, in other non-group entities. Right? Why did they acquire in other non-group entities? Is to get increase in returns. So here, y'all are supposed to get a bulb. Okay. This is financial instruments, right? This is financial instruments. When he wants us to discuss financial instruments, we should speak about IFRS 9. Guys, this is an important topic. IFRS 9 is a way too important topic, right? And it is a lengthy one as well, right? It is an important topic, but also it's a lengthy one as well. So make sure that you all are prepared with it. Don't worry, I'm not making you scared. I'm just telling the truth. Sure. I'm not making you scared. I'm just telling the truth. Sometimes truth is bitter, right? So make sure that you have a good detailed understanding on IFRS 9, right? Because examiner has a habit of testing somewhere this IFRS 9. He always likes to mess us with this IFRS 9. So have a basic understanding of IFRS 9 or a detailed, I would say, have a detailed understanding of IFRS 9, and you all are able to grab that 6 marks for sure. Okay. For the people who have done financial reporting, F7, you all know what debenture is. You all know what debenture is, right? Debenture is, guys, debenture, let me write it here. Debenture, right? Debenture is a debt instrument. It could be either bonds or any of the forms, right? It's a debt instrument. If it's a debt instrument, if it's a debt instrument, it is supposed to be under your financial asset. Okay. So what do they mean is they are investing in a financial asset, guys. They are investing in a financial asset. And why are they investing in a financial asset? Is to bring in increase in returns, right? They are planning on getting some additional investment income, right? They're planning on getting some additional investment income. Also, why are they going and investing in other non-group entities? Why are they going and investing in other non-group entities? See, when y'all are investing in a group, when y'all are investing in a group, This is a very much important point. Very much important point. Group pays dividend. This is not considered. However, if we receive investment income from other non-related investments, we can show them as an investment income. You all know any group that means parent to subsidiary, parent to associate, associate parent. You all cannot show that under your group PNL, SOFP. No, you all merely can't. But if there is a investment income that is being given by the non-group entity, you all can show that as an investment income, right? It is allowed. It is completely allowed as per the group accounts, right? So, you know, this is one point that you all need to discuss. Here it is. This is one point you all need to discuss. Here it is. Debentures is a debt instrument. Okay. Since it's a debt instrument, we are planning on generating group returns, right? And any group dividends are allowed. Any group dividends are allowed, right? Any group dividends are allowed. Okay. So that is one point you all need to mention. That is one point you all need to mention. That is one point you all need to mention. The other one, Kabelo Co financed the acquisition by acquiring a bank loan. Okay. You all remember, right? Kabelo Co paid cash. Kabelo Co paid cash. Well, this cash was not his own company cash. This cash was not his own company cash. He had got a loan. He had got a loan to get that cash. Right? He had got a loan to get that cash. So where would you go and treat the loan as? Where would you go and treat the loan as? Any loans that you all get, right, is a financing activities, guys. Any loan that you'll get is supposed to be classified under financing activities as an outflow, right? As an outflow. Now, actually, this point did not hit for me when I was, when I prepared this in today morning. But now it strikes me. Whenever you have a loan, you need to pay interest expense, right? Whenever you have a loan, you need to pay interest expense. Where would this be classified as? This would be classified as under operating activities. Can you all see how I'm mixing the standards here and there? I'm not standards. I'm interconnecting. This would, I mean, to be practically honest, this did not come to my head until today morning. But now when I'm explaining, it's coming to me. So on exam, I guess this will also pop out into your brain. So whenever it pop out, just take a piece of paper and write it down. Right? Interest expense is treated under operating as an outflow. Right? So that is that. Okay, fine. And also, Kabelo Co had an overdrawn balance as at 31st December 2005. Right? Kabelo Co had an overdrawn balance. Okay. Now, can any of you all tell me under the different categories, of investing, financing, ignore my spellings, financing, or operational, where would this OD, overdraft, where would it be going and charged? Will it come and fall under investing activities? Will it be recorded under financing activities? Or will it be classified under operating activities? Well, the correct perfect answer is neither of this will be impacted. There is no impact in none of this. Simply, overdrawn balances are a reduction. They are a reduction in your cash and cash equivalents, right? So you all don't, there is no impact on three activities. Simply adjust cash and cash equivalent, right? If you do this, if you speak about this, you are going to get the third mark as well, right? You are going to get the third mark as well. Fourth point, and the final point. I forgot to tell you all here. You now see here, they acquired, right? They acquired Trudeau Co. When you all are acquiring Trudeau Co, any acquisition is supposed to be brought under as an outflow in investing activities. To be honest, guys, this point was one point, but I broke it into two. I segregated into two different activities for cash flow purposes, right? So that gave me another mark. So altogether, I was able to grab 4 marks here. Right? The final mark is number 5. What I would say is simply exact copy paste. Here it is. This point, a general explanation. Why does investors want us to, segregate under investors activities, financing activities, and operational? Why does he want to? If I discuss that, I will get 1 mark. So this is all related to Kabelo Co. Hopefully, you all watch the first recording that was uploaded, and after watch this, so that you all get 100% comprehensive understanding of this particular question, right? So we are done with this question for today. We started around 8:15 or something, and it took about 1.5 hours, right? So I've tried to give a summary of all that is there, all that is needed to be included, right? I did not discuss this. You all can go through your very own selves, right? You all can look into it. And I wanted to tell another final point about professional marks, right? Remind me, I will discuss this professional marks uh, in another set of question when I meet you all again, right? Till then, good night, have a safe day, and see you all in the very next discussion of revision that we are going to meet. Yeah. Hopefully you understood. Thanks for joining in. Right. And if you all have any doubts, I'll give you all my email address as well as my WhatsApp number. You all can communicate with me. Right. You all can communicate with me as well as I'll upload this Excel sheet as well so that you all are able to benefit from it. So this would be my WhatsApp number. Right. And this is my email address. Right. My WhatsApp number would be +947646485157. Right. This is my Sri Lankan number. This is my Sri Lankan number. Right. This is my Sri Lankan number. My email address would be abdullh. Right. So if you all have any doubts, you all can contact me on WhatsApp, or you all can drop any doubts on the comment section. Right. And if you all have written this answer, right, I would like to I would like to see your answers. I would like to read your answers. So you all can share that to my personal email address, and I will try to give you all a feedback. Right? I will try to make sure either myself or one of my colleagues will give you all a feedback. Right? And yeah, that is it. Good night, stay safe, and we will meet in our next session. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for joining in.